Do you ever go into the gym and just feel like, well, you aren't getting anything out of it? Like you do all the back things, the rows, the pull downs, you do all the arms, the biceps, the triceps, but to all what seems to be no progress? Well, here's not only how to get stronger on things like squat, bench, and deadlift, but also how to get stronger at your accessories.
Do your accessories right. That's right, folks. Today we're going to be talking about the most commonly incorrectly done accessories. Whether you are a powerlifting person or just a common gym goer, these are the accessories I've seen most people do just wrong or just not really try. So if you're struggling to put on mass or size or strength or whatever, let's look at some of the accessories to do right. The first accessory that I see always done probably incorrectly is the lat pull down. Now you may see everyone does lat pull downs. Everyone is always doing that at the gym, but really most people do them wrong. Whether that is they are shrugging the weight as they pull the bar down and trying to use all traps to pull the bar to their chest. And that really causes people to pull the bar down maybe even too low, pulling the lat bar all the way down to the bottom of their chest, totally collapsing their shoulders over and looking very uncomfortable doing it. Additionally, this is a lat movement right here on the back of your back. You don't want to be collapsed over. You want to be the opposite, almost retracting your shoulder blades down and back so that you can have a nice full squeeze at the bottom and target your lat. Now that probably means that you're going to have to start with a lot lighter weight than 300 pounds, which I know most people just want to load up immediately. Start with 40 pounds, then work your way up, just nice and light to pull the bar down correctly without letting your total upper body collapse forwards or use any of your shoulders or any of your traps. This is all a lat movement. Also, when you're doing lat pull downs, you don't want to use your full body. This is not a full body movement where you're trying to do the worm. You don't want to heave and hoist the weight as far back as you can like you want to lay down. You just want to simply pull your chest up to the bar while keeping your shoulders down. So if you want to grow bigger and thicker back, do your lat pull downs correctly. The next exercise I see people doing incorrectly all the time, probably most common everywhere globally, is the bicep curl. The bicep curl may commonly be confused as a hip thrust, but in fact, we are not trying to throw the weight up with our body. It's just our biceps right here. So most of the time, people either don't extend fully at the bottom, which is really where you get the biggest stretch of your bicep. Instead, they'll kind of pull the weight halfway down and go back up really quickly because it's a lot harder the further, more extended you let your arm come down. So people will try to cut that a little bit short and just kind of go back up, but you're really cheating yourself at that point if you don't get the full stretch and benefit of the exercise, right? And like I preluded, another common mistake that people do is just kind of like using their body to throw that bad boy up and curl like 60 pounds, when in reality, most people could probably struggle with 15 to 20 pounds to just do 10 to 20 reps. And you can get a really good stimulus from just doing that. With bicep curls, there are so many different rep schemes and variations that you can do to build your bicep muscle where you don't have to load up a crap ton of weight and put that stress on your bicep tendon. Instead, just try some drop sets, some pyramid sets, increasing the weight as you go. Just start light and focus on form and your biceps will start to grow. Whether you're doing hammer curls, seated curls, incline curls, spider curls, barbell curls, rope curls, whatever curl you're doing, all these tips apply. You want to have a full range of motion, control the movement itself, and just a really nice squeeze at the top to get that nice bicep peak. All right, so sticking with the trend of arms, another accessory movement that I see people doing wrong all the time is just any variation of triceps. Usually tricep pull downs is where people start to collapse on their form just a little bit. So with tricep pull downs, you can do a lot of different variations with them, whether you use a straight bar, a band like I'm using today, or a rope pull down attachment. The biggest thing I see people do is hunch over their triceps, again, using more of their upper back and not really actually using their triceps. And then secondly, not controlling their elbows. You can change the movement up by depending on where you place your elbows, whether it's more forwards, backwards, or kind of flaring them right out. There's different ways you can do this movement and progress each one. But if you're changing where your elbows are flailing around every rep and set, then it's probably not going to be as effective if you stuck with one and just progressed it. If the weight is too hard for you to get a full extension at the bottom, then you should probably go up just a little bit to get the full squeeze of your tricep. With these banded ones, I try to keep my elbows right by my sides, and I can already feel a really good burn in my triceps. Additionally, I could try having my elbows more pointed forwards. I still get a great tricep burn, and it can be kind of a different variation while using the same equipment. Next up is everyone's favorite accessory, the Bulgarian split squat. Now, these are notorious for just kind of being really, really hard and sucking, but they do have a really good purpose as well. So if you aren't doing the exercise correctly, you may not be getting as much out of it as you could. Bulgarians not only work your leg unilaterally, so you can work on one then the other. You can focus on some front internal rotation, which you rarely ever get. Every other accessory is kind of cueing external rotation of the hips. You can build your quads, and you can really build a strong, firm base and keeping a nice flat foot and just build muscle. So Bulgarians are great, but a lot of people look like a heavyweight in a Walmart lawn chair, folded, and they let their chest come over way too high to where they can't really sit back and get a full range of motion stretch, or their lower back is so shot they can't really do either heavy weight or end up finishing up the set. So when you're doing Bulgarians, you don't want to let your chest collapse. You want to have maybe a slight forward lean so you can sit deeply back into the hole. And to make this exercise even better, just make it a slight deficit by putting like a plate under your front foot, a 2-inch deficit so you can get a deeper range of motion, do some front leg kind of internal rotation and really push through that front foot. And then between sides, make sure that you rest a little bit. So if you do 10 reps on your left side, take a second, take like 20, 30 seconds to rest, then go to your right side, because whatever side you do after the second side that you do, it'll be fatigued because there's always going to be some sort of effort side to side that is going to help your primary leg. So take some time, recover to make sure you can get the same amount of work out of both sides. And maybe start with your weaker side first. If you have a harder time pressing with your right leg than your left leg, then start with your right leg. Get all the stuff that you can out of it before it's fatigued and move on to your other stronger side. Now, the fifth and last exercise that I want to talk about is going to be the dumbbell RDL. Now, this is not only just a great movement to practice your hinge to help with conventional or sumo deadlift, but perhaps just grow hamstrings, glutes, and a nice posterior chain. A lot of times lifters can let the dumbbells kind of drift out in front of them, which you don't ideally want to do because it's going to be very hard if the dumbbells are out here. It's going to put more stress on your lower back. And additionally, sometimes I see lifters kind of just bend the knees instead of really doing a hinge movement. A hinge is where you pretty much drive your hips straight back with a slight bend in your knee and allow your chest to come down, and you feel a nice deep stretch in your hamstrings, and you push your hips forwards at the top and have a nice contraction in your glutes. So not only do you do this with any deadlift ever, when you lock out on conventional, your hips come through, lock out on sumo, your hips come through at the top. So the dumbbell RDL is pretty much just that, but being able to get a nice controlled stimulus straight to your hamstrings and straight to your glutes in a really easy way. So next time you're setting up for a dumbbell RDL, keep the dumbbells close to your shins and just focus on pushing your hips back and having a nice stretch in your hamstrings. Start going down to what is comfortable and eventually start to increase to a deeper range of motion. And if it's already pretty easy for you, you can always add a deficit to anything. You can always add a deficit. All right, so those are the top 5 accessories in the gym that I see people kind of doing incorrectly. So if you feel like you're not getting enough size or strength, try to do some of these accessories and maybe focus on technique and then really trying to progress them. So keep tabs of the weight that you use, try to jump it up a little bit every week, or maybe try to adjust your rep schemes here and there every couple of months. Just get more out of these accessory movements. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week for another video. Bye.